What if the person you love most in the world becomes the very reason you question everything you stand for, your hope, your mercy, your reason to keep walking through the desert of life? In Trigun Stargaze episode 12, titled Quo Vadis, that painful question burns like the twin suns on a dying planet. Released on March 28, 2026, as the powerful Season 1 finale streaming on Crunchyroll, this episode stands at the crossroads of the story arc that began after the Lost July tragedy. It feels like standing in the middle of a dusty street at high noon, heart hammering, tasting dry sand and regret on your tongue, while the smell of gunpowder and ozone hangs in the air. You see shadows of two brothers stretching long across the cracked earth, one carrying endless love, the other endless pain. It's not just another chase across the wasteland. It's the moment where fear meets sacrifice, and identity cracks open like old leather under the sun. You don't just watch this episode. You feel the wind whip past your face and wonder, when the final shot rings out, whose dream will survive? Picking up from the heavy emotional buildup of episode 11, where old wounds from Lost July still bleed and new threats rise with the immigrant fleet on the horizon, episode 12 thrusts Vash the Stampede back into the heart of conflict. Knives moves with terrifying purpose, aiming to bring down everything in a second cataclysmic event. Allies like Meryl, Millie, and Wolfwood stand ready, but the real storm rages between the twin brothers. The episode delivers a raw, final clash filled with danger, quiet moments of understanding, and a flicker of hope reborn. It transitions the tale forward with a sense of closure that still leaves the vast desert of possibilities wide open. You feel the weight of every step, like walking beside them through the ruins, pulse quickening, needing to know if mercy can truly win against despair. Episode 12 advances the main narrative like a bullet finally reaching its target after years of flight. It builds directly on the aftermath of Lost July, where Vash has tried to live quietly as Eric's, only to be pulled back by the chaos Knives continues to sow. The progression feels urgent yet balanced. Bursts of intense action collide with slower, heart-wrenching confrontations. Key revelations deepen the brothers' divide while hinting at larger forces, including the immigrant fleet's arrival. The pacing holds tension beautifully, though some fans on discussion boards note it moves fast in places, cramming big ideas into the finale. Cloudy aspects, like the exact nature of Knives' plan and its ties to the plant's suffering, become clearer when viewed through the lens of the original manga and Trigun Stampede. Knives' goal has always been freeing his fellow plants from humanity's exploitation, echoing real-world struggles against oppression throughout history, like revolutions born from pain. The episode clarifies how Vash's ideals of saving everyone clash with that rage, turning their fight into something more than good versus evil. It ends on a note that feels like a true breaking point, setting up future journeys while giving this season its emotional payoff. You sense the story breathing, alive and unfinished, pulling you forward with questions that echo long after. Vash stands at the center, his hidden wounds, guilt over past losses, the endless burden of pacifism, laid bare in ways that feel deeply human. His choices remain consistent with the man who loves humanity despite its flaws, yet they surprise with quiet growth and raw vulnerability. Knives, voiced with chilling intensity, reveals layers of his own pain and twisted love for his brother and the plants. Their dialogue carries the weight of decades apart, transforming old resentment into a heartbreaking collision of worldviews. Supporting figures like Meryl show quiet strength, and Wolfwood brings his signature grit. Every performance feels lived in, like watching someone you care about finally face the mirror they've avoided for years. The episode asks the questions that have haunted people since the first brothers walked the earth. Can love and mercy overcome hatred born from suffering? What is the true cost of survival? Sacrifice everything, or cling to impossible hope? These ideas don't just sit in the background. They bleed through every choice. Vash's refusal to kill mirrors moments in history where one person's stand against violence changed the tide, while Knives' path echoes revolutions fueled by justified anger. Hope and despair dance together in the dust, forcing you to wonder. In your own life, when faced with impossible odds, would you pull the trigger or offer your hand? New layers around the plants, the immigrant fleet, and the planet's fragile future enrich the Trigun universe without overwhelming it. The rules of power, loss, and rebirth feel more dangerous and beautiful here, complicating the wasteland into a place where every life, human or plant, matters in the grand, lonely dance of existence. The script is sharp and poetic, never falling into cliché. Lines hit like a quiet confession in the dark or a shout across an empty plain, carrying foreshadowing and emotional truth that stays with you. They resonate like classic Western standoffs mixed with the heavy silences of real human regret, making you lean in closer, hungry for the next word. Studio Orange shines under art director Osamu Nakajima, with character designs by Kiyotaka Ashiyama and direction from Masako Sato. The art direction blends fluid, dynamic movement in fights with symbolic stillness in emotional emotional beats. Colors shift from harsh desert oranges and reds to softer, hopeful blues and golds, while shadows and lighting carve out the character's inner turmoil. Beauty here isn't just pretty. It means survival, pain, and fragile renewal, shaping how every frame pulls at your heart. Camera angles linger on trembling hands or wide shots of ruined landscapes that make you feel tiny against the planet's scars. Editing rhythm mirrors the story's heartbeat, fast during tension, slow when truths sink in, amplifying every emotion like standing right there in the standoff, dust stinging your eyes. The OST acts like an old friend or a haunting ghost. Motifs swell with sorrow and determination, crescendos that burn into memory like the roar of a final gunshot. Silence often speaks louder, letting the weight of unsaid words hang heavy in the air, turning quiet moments into something sacred. Yoshitsugu Matsuoka as Vash the Stampede delivers a performance full of warmth, tremor, and unbreakable spirit, his voice cracking in just the right places to show the soul beneath the smile. Ruji Sato as Millions Knives brings chilling depth and raw pain, embodying the brothers' fractured heart with intensity that stays with you. Their exchanges feel like family arguments that cut to the bone. This episode left me with a heavy chest and eyes that stung, like tasting salt from tears mixed with desert wind. Moments of brotherly understanding sparked wonder, while others left scars that feel personal. The climax arrives as a true collision of destinies, a breaking point where love, rage, sacrifice, and hope crash together like thunder over the plains. Connects to questions we all carry. How far would you go for those you love? Can broken things ever truly heal? You walk away carrying their burdens as if they were your own, heart full of echoes. Some might feel the pacing rushes in spots or that certain ideas could breathe more with extra time, echoing the limits of a 12-episode season. Yet these choices feel deliberate, mirroring the harsh, unforgiving speed of life on a dying world. What could seem crowded instead pushes the emotional core forward, turning potential flaw into focused power. Episode 12 stands strong with its emotional depth, stunning visuals, and heartfelt character work, succeeding beautifully in wrapping this chapter while opening the door to more. Its strengths, raw feeling, and philosophical weight far outweigh any small rushes. So tell me, when the dust finally settles at high noon and the question, Quo vadis? Where are you going? Rings out, will you turn away from the desert? Or will you pick up your own broken ideals, step forward, and keep walking beside Vash into whatever strange new horizon waits? This episode doesn't just end a season, calls to something deep inside you. The only way to answer is to watch, and let the journey become part of your own.